Hello there.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inured, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
Business, so I think you have some authority on this.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults. And they've covered it all up.
We take the children of our enemy, which is the white race, and we bring them to the basements in the synagogues where we drain the blood and watch them die there. It's very similar to how we do the sacrifices that we do with the kosher butchering, and so we do that, and then we mix it with the Passover bread, and so we eat the blood of our enemies. And the bodies, we're not cannibals, so what we do is we take those, because we can make some shekels, and we give them to the slaughterhouses, and those are pounds and pounds and pounds of meat that we grind up in the sausage and the hamburger, and that's why we made those the most popular things, sausage for breakfast and hamburger for lunch. And so all the goyim out here are really eating their children. And even when we say this outright and tell you people, you don't believe it.
I'd be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's fucked up what they be doing to y'all. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. I be saying that's fucked up, like, bro, you probably had the full washing set. You should be fired probably if they ain't cut your shit. Fuck it though, bro. It's your life.
Create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
This is Mossad's old office. Its motto from Proverbs 24:6 says in so many words, wage war through deception and trickery.
For themselves the kingdoms they exterminated, and they created fake portraits and fake stories. They burned what they could, and they claimed to have built those they couldn't destroy. The wild men flag was raised everywhere, fake kings and fake queens appeared everywhere, and that is how you created a fake history of America, Europe, and Russia. And thus, the Tartary Empire became a forgotten entity, just like their neighbors, the Black Europeans. They became a ghost in the annals of history.
We've seen the popular animated TV show Rick and Morty. A mad scientist named Rick decided to invent a machine to serve him butter. When the machine became sentient and realized that its entire sole purpose was to serve butter, it went into a depressive state. This is a good way to understand that Gnostic cruelty of physical existence. Rick's battery on his car, or fucking something like that. I'm gonna get the details of this episode wrong, but it's the gist. The battery on his car quit working, so he had to shrink himself down into a macrocosmic level to go into the battery. There was an entire civilization of living physical entities whose efforts and energy is actually what powered Rick's car. Rick pleaded with Morty and said, do not tell these people that their sole purpose is to power my car. It would create chaos. The living entities, the conscious beings within this reality wouldn't be able to handle the brutal reality of their existence being for the sole purpose to power some dirtbag's fucking car. It would cause mass suicide. When Rick goes down there as an avatar, he's considered a god. This is obviously funny and humorous to watch for us because we know that that's a TV show and we don't have to worry about that. We live in objective reality, right? There's no way that we are a power source.
By the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite. You have given us entree to the resources we need in our ongoing quest for multidimensional expansion. And in return, the per capita income of each of you here tonight has grown, in this year alone, by an average 39%. And I've just received word that our forces have won a major victory. The underground terrorist network has been destroyed here on the West Coast. We are off crisis alert. The situation is normal again.
God we trust. Who is the God they are talking about? The US dollar bill has an ancient Egyptian pyramid with 13 blocks and an all-seeing Masonic eye printed on it. Under the pyramid, in Roman numerals, is the year 1776. Is it a coincidence that the Bavarian Illuminati was inaugurated in 1776? In Washington, D.C., London City and Vatican City, there are large obelisk structures. Obelisks are ancient Egyptian structures honoring the pagan sun god of ancient Egypt, Amun-Ra. The streets of Washington, D.C. form a pentagram with the White House at the bottom point. A pentagram is another pagan symbol. So who is the God they trust? Perhaps the question itself is already wrong, because God is not someone, but everything that exists. Religions and science seek to understand that essence, but each question leads us away from the simple truth.
Money is power. Money is the only weapon that the Jew has to defend himself with. Oh, mother!
Come, he wants to speak with you. All of you.
Come closer. Much money is lost through sending gold by coach from one country to another. In times of war, it is seized by the enemy. In times of peace, by thieves. You are 5 brothers. I want you each to start a banking business in a different country. One to go and open a house in Paris, one in Vienna, one in London. Choose the most important centers. In your day, there will be many wars in Europe. And nations that have money to transport will come to the Rothschilds because it will be safe. You must stand by one another. No one brother must be allowed to fail while another brother succeeds. Your 5 banking houses may cover Europe, but you will be one firm, one family, the Rothschilds, who work always together.
Illuminati, if you will which is primarily run by the Rothschild family. The Rothschilds financed Stalin and the takeover of Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917. They have financed the French Revolution. They financed World War II. They financed Hitler, and they were financing the U.S. So they believe in order out of chaos. You fund both sides of a war, and whichever side wins, you got their vote. Because you're their paymaster. You've given them their money.
Liquid crystal. There are CIA documents which reveal that. Radios use crystals to pick up frequencies and turn them into sound. Your body works the same way. Your pineal gland has crystalline structures that act like an antenna. Your body is a radio, tuning into the infinite stream of consciousness, the mind of God. We are all God in human form, experiencing life through the illusion of separation. God created the 3D world to experience himself instead of the oneness. You don't need to go to church to connect with God. You are God. The key is going within through breathwork, meditation, and inner awareness. Religion was made to externalize this truth, to keep you away from your own divine
But when you find out that everything you believed was a bunch of bull, it was all man-made stuff given to you by the Knights Templars and all the secret societies of Freemasonry coming out of Europe, and the church was nothing more than a Masonic order financed and promoted by the old Roman aristocracy of Rome, and that the entire superstructure of Western civilization is commerce, money, banking, and it has nothing to do with God, nothing to do with spirituality. Moses was into mushrooms and volcanoes. So I'm just saying we need to wake up and start doing some research on what is life, where did we come from, what is God, because if we don't, the whole human race is going to be raped. We are seeing it today. We are nothing more than a human resource. That's all we are. And we need to wake up and take back our spirituality, and you're never going to do it if you're hanging around in churches and synagogues and mosques. That's not where the truth is. The truth is like they said on television, truth's out there. I want you to understand, I am not criticizing spirituality of God. I'm criticizing corporate religions. I think I've had enough of it.
The God that they worship is God, but that's really the devil. Everybody tricked in the world, right? Everybody in church, they worshiping the devil. The devil got everybody in the trick. They got everybody thinking the light come from God, but the light really the devil. God come from the dark. They say God created the world in triple darkness. So that means that God, wherever he resides, is the dark. But everybody follow the light.
Creatures who deceive the humans in the name of God were reptile-like aliens called reptilians. The reptilians liked to eat the animals of Earth and occasionally enjoyed eating human flesh too.
They brainwashed the Earthlings by using the name of God when their true intentions were to invade and overtake the Earth.
But this was a violation of the Universal Code, which states that no planet should interfere with any other planet as long as its people live with a spirit of love and harmony.
They cunningly devised a plan that would not breach the Universal Code.
They brainwashed individuals and used them to instigate disorder in society. This gave the Reptilians a reason to interfere. They then intended to have their compatriots immigrate to Earth so they could control the planet before the space police interfered.
I don't understand why you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on. And then, I mean, it's such a simple question, and it's haunted me ever since. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Ask yourself that question. Why do we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on? And who are we actually paying for the privilege of being alive here? Who made them the boss? Who put them in charge? You know? Think about that. We're looking at a war over water, when instead of feeding the military-industrial complex, we could be building desalination plants all over the world. So everybody could have water. So they could grow crops. But are we doing it? Hell no. Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to empower people to grow food and take care of themselves? Then we can't control them. This is what I'm
Ask me why their grandparents or great-grandparents never talked about the reset. Why don't they remember anything about it? Well, let me try to explain it. First, there were the Cabbage Patch Babies. Now, these weren't just toys, you see. They became a symbol of something much bigger, a massive repopulation effort after the reset. These babies, they weren't born the usual way. They were produced almost mechanically in large numbers and distributed through a cold, efficient system. Strange, isn't it? Brings to mind ideas like cloning, doesn't it? And maybe that's why today you see so many folks who just seem to go with the flow. No questions, no thinking. Did you know they say nearly half the population doesn't even have an internal monologue? Imagine that, living life with a quiet mind, just following along. Those babies, those orphan trains, they were shipped off along with abandoned children who had survived the reset, taken from their families, sent to faraway lands. Many ended up in America. And when they got there, they were given a new story, the official version of history. No elders left to tell them the truth. Nobody to remember how things used to be. It made them easier to control, you see, easier to
Things
accept.
that I learned from whistleblowers from the cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules are a body of spiritual principles that they must follow in order to be allowed to exist.
From New York to Brazil, Buenos Aires, and then Antarctica without ever coming up to the surface for air. And you can do it all at way more than 1,000 miles an hour on magnetic levitation trains, otherwise called maglev. One thing he told me, he went from Virginia to Los Angeles in 45 minutes. Do the math, 3,000 miles an hour. Most people don't even believe that there's a tunnel network. There are hundreds of thousands of miles of tunnels.
You think, are you going to follow Donald Trump's plan and get rid of DEI and ESG in your companies? BlackRock really is the opposite of Donald Trump in so many ways. You're authoritarian, you're anti-populist, you're top-down. Are you going to change it all in light of the U.S. presidency? How is Donald Trump? Have you talked to Donald Trump since he was elected? Is the World Economic Forum a counterpoint to Donald Trump? Why are you running away from simple questions? Just answer a question. Have you talked to President Trump yet? Why are your bodyguards pushing away journalists, Mr. Fink?
They're simple questions. Is it that hard to answer a question that you need bodyguards and to swerve through traffic? Is the next 4 years going to be bad for business with Donald Trump in charge? Is peace the last thing you want on this world?
Which makes more money for you, war in Ukraine or peace in Ukraine? Ezra Levant's my name, Mr. Fink.
Did you just take a photo of you?
Am I supposed to be scared? Is that a threat, Mr. Fink?
Why do you think you deserve so much power?
Reptilians and Dracos cannot stand the sound of bells. They despise the sound of bells. The moment that ringing begins, they instinctively want to run. That's why the Tartarians had these bells made, and they had them everywhere. The reptilian despises the sound of bells. The moment the ringing begins, it reacts instinctively, running from the source as fast as it can. The sound is more than just a painful noise to its sensitive ears. It's a torment that cuts deep. Each bell's unique frequency gnawing at its mind. The variation in pitch and tone drive the reptilian to the brink of insanity, triggering an obsessive response that it cannot control. This is why they were collecting bells. Because the reptilians cannot stand the sound of the bell. The sound alone drives them insane. This is why they had them collected around the world. Every time that bell chimes, they get closer and closer to madness. The change in tone weakens their power. It doesn't even allow them to shapeshift. They showed us in the movie Venom. We just weren't paying attention. Until now. Now, when you see this, you know who's responsible for it. You know who wanted and needed all of these bells destroyed.